These 13 Nintendo games have all just been sitting around the shop because Robert over at Restorish has cleaned them all, cleaned all the pins, and they still don't work. So today we're gonna see if we can fix them. We've got 8 NES games and 5 SNES games. Altogether, these are worth about $175, so totally worth trying to fix. So let's get started with number 1, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. This game is worth the most out of all of them at $35. So here we go with Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I've only played this game a handful of times. I was never very good at it, but I do remember when I was younger, my brother actually beat this game. He got pretty good at it. I was always surprised that he was able to beat it because it seems so difficult, especially as you get to some of the last rounds. Let's open it up and see if we can figure out what might be going on. And I'm immediately noticing we've got some damage right here. I can't tell if it's hurting anything, but let's get under a microscope and check it out. All right, and taking a look at the back side, what I'm looking for is just all these solder joints, just to see if any of them are bad. All of them look fine. None of these pins move when we slide our pick along here. All of those joints are good. Those all look good. Let's check the front side. Let's check down here. Okay, so this is the part I was worried about, but there is a connection from here to there. Same here, same here. I don't know what happened to this game. This is very strange. It's like the solder mask is like flaking off. That looks like a problem. This might be a problem. Look at this. This is all kind of like disintegrated right here. This is so strange. Oh, here we go. Wow. There's a whole... I have no idea what would cause this, but this looks to be likely the issue. I don't know why it's in the shape of this chip though. So this line is just right in the same shape of this chip, and it even includes this little cutout. That's the part that's confusing to me. I'm not really sure what to think. I hate to do this in this video, but I think I'm actually going to save this for another video, because what I think is going to be best to do with this is get a whole different board, because we have almost all of these that need to be fixed. Then we have some of these that need to be fixed, and then underneath there's these chips, there might be even more that needs to be fixed. So that's going to be a long repair, and I also don't have the replacement cartridge here. So I think I'm going to make another video just fixing this one. So with that all being said, let's move on to number 2. And number 2 is Bump and Jump. I've never actually heard of this game before. Don't know what goes on in it, but it sounds a little suspicious to me. With those 3 screws removed, we can open it up, see what's going on. And let's take a look under the microscope. And taking a look at these pins, they're definitely very used and worn. There's like some sort of, I don't know, some sort of buildup on them, it looks like, that might need to clean. Now, I did say Robert over at Restorish has cleaned these, and he has, but some of these might need more scrubbing than he did. Also, this gold contact is just totally wearing through on these ends of the pins here. I'm not sure how much that would affect this, but it definitely could. Let's also look at all the joints. That one's good. These joints all look pristine, so I don't think it's a problem there. Let's check the other side real quick. And just more like scratching here over. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of like scratching on this. Just kind of some debris here. These have also just been sitting around our shop, so some of this could have come just from sitting around not being used. Okay, I think I've seen what I need to see. Let's give these pins a very deep and a little bit more rough of a clean. I'm gonna use Magic Eraser. I'm gonna press pretty hard on them just to try and remove any grime that's still on here. Again, these pins look like they're worn almost all the way through in spots, so I don't know. I don't know whether that's something we can fix or not, but let's give it a try. I'm gonna be using some deoxit and some Magic Eraser. I mean, I definitely scuffed them up some more. All of that residue is off. So those, I don't know, they look okay. They're definitely very worn. I'm gonna do the other side and then we'll put it together and try it out. All right, let's get this back together, install it in an NES, and see what happens. We've got our NES top loader all set up. Let's plug the game in. There we go. And on. And there we go. So Bump and Jump is all fixed. Let's move on to number 3. And number 3, World Cup is worth about $8. The game we just finished, Bump and Jump, is worth about $7. Okay. Yeah, the pins are definitely a problem on this one. They've been cleaned, but they're pretty grimy still. And also, there might be something going on up here. Let's get under the microscope and check it out. Now I'm looking up here first, and even though it looks like, have those traces been, yeah, that's, so these traces have kind of been bent over, but here's the reason I'm not really worried about that. That is where this piece like connected to the support piece or something like that. So even though these were definitely bent up and look kind of funny, I don't think these traces actually go anywhere, so I'm not too worried about that. We've got definitely some exposed copper here, but I don't see any problem from that. That's interesting. There's some weird residue on that. So nothing going on here. All of these traces look good. So I think also some sort of weird residue over here. So I think what we have here is more intense cleaning that's needed. Now I do have to say that a bunch of these came from Restorish Rob's video, but not all of them. Some of these were just, you know, laying around the shop for a while not working. So I can't blame it all on Robert if these don't work, even though that is fun to do. Let's turn it over and check the pins on the other side. These actually look pretty good over here, but it only takes the wrong dirty pin to make the entire thing not work. So, okay, I think we're good. I'm gonna clean up these pins and then we'll check it and see if that's all it takes to get this working. So I already used a little bit of magic eraser and deoxit on these pins right here. There's still quite a bit of gunk buildup, so I'm gonna do something that the purist will hate. Shh, don't tell them, it'll just be our little secret. I'm gonna use some 1000 grit sandpaper. And I'm not gonna go crazy on it, but these pins just are really dirty still. And if there's not very many other options, then I think this is a good one. Now, sometimes I see people write that they just use the tip of an eraser, various things like that. I know that works. I've used it before. It does work. Honestly, I've had much better success with deoxit and magic eraser than anything else. Not knocking anything you like to do. That's just been my experience. I do realize magic eraser is abrasive, but also so are pencil erasers. That's why it works. Okay, that is looking much better. Definitely took off a little bit of the finish on these pins, which is why you don't want to do that unless you have to, but it can work to get these going. I think that's as clean as we're gonna get it. Let's get it back together, install it into the NES and see if it works. Here we go with our clean cartridge. And on. And there we go. Nintendo World Cup is all fixed. Let's move on to the next one. Number 4, Jordan versus Bird. Only worth about $5, but if it doesn't take much to fix, it's totally worth it. I definitely won't be going down a rabbit hole on this one if there's something crazy going on, but if it's easy, might as well fix it. And here we go. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. I don't see anything too crazy going on here. And once again, looking at the back side of these pins, there's a little more grime than deoxit and magic eraser will take off. So I'm gonna come in with my 1000 grit sandpaper again. Just very lightly rub on these pins. Just try and get all that grime off of there. I wish I could show it better on camera. It doesn't totally show up as good as I would like it to, but that is so much better. Nice and clean and gold. Now the top side pins I think are okay. I don't think there's a problem there. One of the things I sometimes do with these is leave a little bit of deoxit on these pins. Just take it like that and then rub it across with a cotton bud. It's actually better to do this with something that won't leave any pieces behind, but I think we're gonna be okay here. This just helps keep the pins in good condition. It also cleans the pins on the console. Okay, let's see if that fixed this one. Game installed, power on, and there we go. So we're getting a bunch of really easy fixes on this so far. I hope it stays that way. Actually, I kind of hope it doesn't for your sake, because that'll make kind of a boring video, but I hope that all of these will be fixable. We've fixed them all so far except for number 1, which I'm going to save for a separate video. Let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is Capcom Yo Noid. Never heard of this game before. It looks interesting. Pizza Crusher, and this guy's walking along on steel beams. I don't know what's going on here. Tell me in the comments if you've played this game and what it's all about. It looks interesting and also strange, just like so many NES games. So one of the things I love about that generation, though, there's just so many games, and so many games that were just a little strange. All right, what do we got going on here? Maybe more pins that need some more work. We've got a little bit of corrosion going on some of the pins, so I think that might be the only issue. So before we take a look any further, I'm just going to do some more scrubbing with sandpaper, very light scrubbing with sandpaper, and I think that might get this one working, but if not, then we'll come back and see why not. Well, that's not going to help it out any. Number 5 is all fixed, hopefully. It's all cleaned. Let's see if that's all it took to fix it. Of course, I dropped it on the ground. That could be enough to fix it too. Power on. Oh, gray screen. Okay. Gray screen. All right, so it looks like we finally have one that needs more than cleaning. Let's take a look at it and see what's going on. All right, and taking a look on the back side, got a little bit of, I don't know, something going on along some of these traces, but nothing crazy, nothing to even be worried about. There's little spots of a little bit of corrosion, it looks like, but not anything close to being a problem. Let's look on the front side. All good there. No problems there. Oh, wait a second. I see something. You see it? Right here? No, I don't think that's a problem. Bummer. I wish that was the problem. Okay, I don't see anything so far. I'm going to scrape away a little more of this just to be sure that there's no issue there. Don't think there is, but yeah, no, there's no problem there. Okay, so I found what might be an issue. This right here looks like a break in this trace. So I'm going to check from here all the way over to here. So what I'm doing is checking to see if there's a connection between this point and this point. Actually, between this point and this whole circuit trace all the way up to here. So I have one of my multimeter probes on this right here, and I'm going to put the other one right here. If there's a connection, it should beep. It does not beep. There's a connection there, and there's a connection from here to here. So this is what we need to fix. What I'm going to do is scrape away this green solder mask. I'm going to solder a wire from here over to here. That will complete this circuit, and then we'll put it in the game console and see if that fixes it. So first I need to scrape away a little more of this solder mask, just to make sure I have a lot of places to solder to. And then I'm actually going to make the wire a little longer. I'm going to solder it up to here. A longer wire makes it easier to solder to the circuit. That is quite the hole right there. Give it a good cleaning real quick. I'm going to add some flux. This flux will just help the solder flow. And now I'm going to tin the pad. That just means I'm going to put a little bit of solder on the pad. I'm actually going to use my small iron for this. Sometimes with a larger iron, it's hard to really get the iron right where you want it. Now I'm going to prep the wire. So just burn off some of the outer coating right here. And we'll connect it right here. And then we'll burn off the outer coating over here. And there we go. We'll give this whole area a good cleaning. And now with that repair complete, let's see if our meter beeps when we connect the 2 points. Yes, it does. So let's get this back in the console and see if it works now. There we go. Power on. And there we go. So this one's all fixed. Let's move on to number 6. Number 6 is NES Baseball, worth a whole $5. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. Okay, I'm going to clean these pins real good. Then we'll start it up and see if that's all it takes to fix it. All clean. Let's see what happens when we turn it on and try and play. There we go. Let's move on to number 7. Super Mario 3, the greatest game of all time. Let's see what's going on with this one. This one we for sure have to fix. Looking at the back side, I don't see anything major going on here. Front side, same thing. This board is definitely twisted though. Might be broken somewhere. That could be a problem here. But same as the others, let's scrub these pins really well. There's a lot of wear right here, so this one might be one that just needs a little more intense scrubbing. All the pins are scrubbed and clean, but did I fix the greatest game of all time? Yes, I did. This game is worth $15, and so is number 8, Tecmo Super Bowl. Let's take a look at that one. This one is also a $15 game. Kind of surprising, but I guess it was more popular than I thought. Oh yeah, we're gonna need to do some scrubbing on those pins for sure. Let's quickly check this battery first. We got 3 volts on a 3 volt battery. Might replace that at some point, but for now it is definitely good. These pins on the back are the ones that are pretty worn. So those are the ones I'll work on, and then we'll test it. And did sanding the pins fix Tecmo Super Bowl? Of course it did. So that is all of the NES games. We were able to fix all of them, except for the first one, of course, which again, I'll make a different video on. Let's take a look at the 5 SNES games. And we're gonna start with this super fun game, Super Mario Kart. Looks like we're missing one screw over there. If we end up having an extra screw, we'll definitely install that. Oh, we got some major issues on this pin right here. And I don't see anything else going on this board other than pins that need some serious scrubbing. Okay, number 9. Installed. Let's see what happens. And there we go. That is looking great. Let's move on to number 10. And for number 10, we've got a Super Mario World. I don't think I've really played this much for the Super Nintendo, but it is worth about 15 bucks. The previous game, Super Mario Kart, was worth $25, so that was an easy money right there. Okay, this one looks the same. I'm gonna clean up these pins and we'll test it. Before I do that though, I do want to mention that Robert's Restorish video where he tried to clean these, he was doing very kind of like non-invasive cleaning. He was cleaning the pins with deoxit, a little bit of magic eraser, but that's it. And that is normally what you want to do with cleaning these. Now that being said, sometimes there's so much gunk or corrosion built up that that's just not enough to get these working. And that's what we're finding with this. And that's why I'm actually using sandpaper. This is not something I would ever recommend just to do, especially if you haven't tried cleaning them before with methods that don't involve such abrasives. But when it comes down to this much gunk built up on the pins, this is a really good method in my opinion. Now I know there's going to be people that push back on that, and that's fine. Everybody's got their own methods. But clearly this video is showing that this method works pretty well. And again, even though I am using sandpaper, I'm pressing very gently on this and I'm not sanding very much. It's just enough to get kind of that top layer of gunk off. And even with that, there's quite a bit of black marks on this still. I'm getting a lot of it off, but there's still quite a bit on there. So it'll be interesting to see if that's enough to get this working. All right. Back together and then we'll test it. Cartridge in, power on, and here we go. Another great game saved. In fact, I'm not even sure why I'm sitting here making this video when I could be playing these amazing games. But I guess I've only got 3 more to go. Let's see if we can fix them. Number 11 is another Super Mario World. Oh, we've got some serious corrosion going on here. Okay, we've got to get under the microscope for this one. And the first thing I see here is a diode with a missing leg. This is all pretty corroded. Let's see what else we have going on in here. Nothing too crazy there. A bunch of corrosion down in here. Oh, we got a very rusted leg right here. Let's see if we can get some of this rust off. I mean, it looks like it's still fine. It looks like there's still connection there, which is good. I think this might be okay. Okay, and then we got some more rust over here. Looking at the pins though, and the circuit traces, they look okay. This board has definitely got quite a bit of liquid damage going on. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit of a stiff brush in here. Try and clean these off a bit. Yeah, that worked a little bit. So all of this, I mean, it's definitely rusty, but these aren't gonna cause this thing to not work. That pen is even looking pretty good now. So let's look at the other side real quick. Just see if we have any obvious traces that are bad. Don't see anything there. Oh, what do we, I think that could be an issue right there. I think we probably need to replace the board on this one too, because these pins are just not in great condition. But I think maybe we can get this working. So I'm gonna replace this with a wire like I did on the other one. And then I'm gonna clean those pins up really good. And we'll see if that's enough to get this thing working. Like I said, to fix it permanently, it would need probably a new board, but we don't have one of those right now. At some point, maybe when I fix that other one, I'll get a new board for this one too. All right, so solder there, solder here. It's all looking good. Now with that cleaned up, let's get these pins cleaned up, and then we'll put it in and see if that works. Now we'll put a little deoxit on, spread it around a little bit. Same with this side. I'm gonna test it and see if it works even without this diode on here. I don't know whether it will or not. Let's try it. All right, plug it in. You think it's gonna work? I don't know about this one. It totally works. Obviously, this one does need a new board, and when I replace the board on this Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, I'll see if I can find a board that I can replace this with in that same video. But for now, it looks like it is at least working. Next, we have the incredible Crash Test Dummies. This game is worth $5, and looks like probably needs pin scrubbing. So I'll get that done, and we'll see if that's all it needs. What do you want to bet that's all it needed? Let's find out. And here we go. We've only got one more game, Chuck Rock. I have no idea. I mean, going by the graphics on it, it looks like it's just guys chucking rocks, but let's open it up and see if we can fix it. So this game is actually worth $15. And I'm guessing we just need a good scrubbing on these pins too. I don't see anything else, at least with just my eyes, so let's give it a try and see if that's all it needs. Is that all we needed to fix Chuck Rock? Let's find out. Yep, it sure is. So out of these 13 games, there was only 2 that we didn't fix. I'm not gonna say we couldn't fix them because I'm pretty sure they're totally fixable. So I think this goes to show that if you've got some games that don't seem to be working and a light cleaning doesn't do it, you might need to clean a little bit more aggressively. That being said, don't scrub any more than you need to. If you like this type of video and you want to see me try and fix some broken Pokemon games, I'm going to put a link for that video up on your screen now so you can come hang out with me over there and see how hard those were to fix. Thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.